The morning bell echoed through Ridgewood High, its shrill tone slicing through the sleepy chatter of students rushing to their classrooms. The air was filled with laughter, gossip, and the clicking of sneakers against the polished floor. But among the chaos walked a girl so quiet, most students barely noticed she existed. Her name was Emily Carter, 16 years old, tall but slightly hunched, always clutching her books like a shield. Her long brown hair often fell across her face, hiding the timid blue eyes that told 1,000 silent stories. She dressed modestly, always in plain jeans and oversized shirts, as if trying to fade into the background. And it worked, until the day everything changed. Emily had always been the quiet one. Teachers liked her because she was polite, never late, never loud. Students, however, saw her silence as weakness. She had no friends, no voice, no defense, and in a place like Ridgewood, silence made you a target. The bullies smelled fear like sharks smell blood. Among them, none were more ruthless than Lena Brooks, the queen of the hallways, tall, blonde, always surrounded by her clique of mean girls, and her boyfriend Zach, the captain of the basketball team. Together, they ruled the school's social world. They picked on anyone who didn't fit their definition of cool, and Emily, the quiet girl in thrift store clothes, was their favorite prey. That morning, Emily walked into room 203, her math class. Her steps were small, hesitant, as if each one could trigger laughter. She quietly sat in her seat near the window, the same corner she always chose because it made her invisible. But today, Lena and her friends had other plans. The teacher, Mr. Daniels, had stepped out to make copies, leaving the class unsupervised for a few minutes. The perfect window for trouble. Lena leaned over to her friends and smirked. "Watch this," she whispered. She strutted toward Emily's desk, her perfume filling the air before her voice sliced through. The room. "Hey, mouse girl," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The class fell silent, a dozen heads turning toward the back corner. Emily froze. Her throat tightened. She didn't respond. She never did. But Lena wasn't here for words. She wanted a reaction. She snatched one of Emily's notebooks and flipped through it. "Wow, you even write like a grandma. What are these, love poems? Who'd ever like you?" She sneered, laughing as the other students giggled. Emily's fingers trembled as she tried to grab her notebook back. "Please, give it back," she whispered. Her voice was so soft it barely carried over the laughter. Lena's grin widened. "Aww, little mouse speaks." She tossed the notebook to Zach, who caught it and held it high. "You want it? Come get it," he mocked. Emily stood up slowly, but before she could take a step, Lena grabbed the hem of her shirt from behind. "Wait, let's see what the quiet girl hides under those grandma clothes," she shouted. The sound of fabric tearing silenced everything. The world seemed to freeze as a jagged rip echoed across the room. Emily gasped, her eyes wide with horror. Her white shirt tore from the shoulder down, exposing part of her undershirt beneath. The laughter that followed wasn't loud, it was cruel, the kind that burns into your bones. Lena's friends clapped and snickered. Zach smirked. Even some students who didn't like the bully said nothing, they just watched. Emily's face turned crimson. Tears welled up, but she refused to let them fall. Her breathing quickened, shallow and ragged. The humiliation hit her harder than any slap could. In that moment, something inside her snapped. Her hands clenched into fists so tight that her nails dug into her palms. The laughter around her blurred into static. Every cruel word, every shove, every whisper she'd endured for years played like a reel in her mind. The trembling in her hands stopped. The fear that had lived in her chest for so long vanished. She slowly straightened her back, her eyes lifting to meet Lena's, with a calmness that chilled the room. Lena's smirk faltered for a second. "What are you staring at, freak?" she spat. But Emily didn't answer. Her breathing slowed. Her heart, for the first time, felt steady. She stepped forward once, just one step, and kicked her heavy wooden desk with full force. The crash was deafening. The desk flipped, slammed against the floor, and the echo bounced off the classroom walls like thunder. Everyone jumped back. Books scattered. The laughter stopped instantly. Even Lena's mouth fell open. Emily's chest heaved, but her eyes remained locked on Lena. "Don't," she said quietly, her voice calm but carrying a strange power. "Ever touch me again." Her tone wasn't loud, but the way she said it sent chills through the air. For the first time, Lena took a step back. Zach, trying to save face, laughed nervously. "Whoa, chill out. It was just a joke." But his voice cracked halfway. Emily turned her gaze toward him, and something in her expression made even him flinch. "A joke?" she repeated, her voice trembling with anger. "Tearing someone's clothes in front of everyone? You think humiliation is funny?" Her voice grew louder, steadier. "You think because I'm quiet, I won't fight back?" She stepped closer, and the students who had been laughing seconds ago were now silent, watching the quiet girl transform into something unrecognizable. Mr. Daniels burst through the door just then, papers in hand, his eyes going wide at the scene, the flipped desk, the trembling students, Emily standing tall with fire in her eyes. "What on earth is going on here?" he demanded. No one spoke. Lena tried to fake innocence. "She went crazy, sir. She just kicked her desk out of nowhere." But Mr. Daniels' eyes narrowed. He noticed Emily's torn shirt, the trembling in her hands, the fear in everyone else's faces. His expression hardened. "Lena Brooks, principal's office." "Now," he said firmly. "And you, Zach." The bullies' faces drained of color. They tried to argue, but Mr. Daniels cut them off. "Now!" he barked. The classroom was silent except for the sound of Lena's heels clacking against the floor as she and Zach left, their arrogance shattered. Emily sank into her seat, her eyes staring blankly at the floor. Her hands were still shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. Mr. Daniels knelt beside her and gently placed his jacket over her shoulders. "You did nothing wrong, Emily," he said softly. "I saw enough to know what happened." But Emily didn't reply. Her mind was far away, replaying every moment of that humiliation. The tears finally came, not from weakness but release. The room was still. No one dared whisper. Even the ones who used to mock her looked away, ashamed. For the rest of the day, whispers followed her down the hallway, but not the kind she was used to. This time, they weren't mocking. They were cautious, respectful, some even scared. At lunch, she sat alone as usual, but no one dared throw paper balls or whisper insults. The power dynamics had shifted, and everyone felt it. Lena and Zach were suspended that afternoon, and rumor spread that the principal had called their parents in. Emily didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She just sat by the window, watching the rain fall, realizing something deep inside her. Silence was her armor once, but it had also been her prison. She wasn't going back there again. That night she stood before the mirror, tracing the rip on her shirt, the symbol of everything she'd endured. Her reflection no longer looked small or scared. Her eyes were clear, her posture straight. She tied her hair back tightly, her movements deliberate, calm. She wasn't going to let anyone control her story again. The next day would be different. For her, and for everyone else who ever thought the quiet girl would stay quiet forever.